See, the world is starting to wake up to all this bullshit. Now, y'all heard what that man said. They be beating this girl up after the whistle, bruh. Beating her up, man. And all y'all want to do is tell us, we casual fans, we don't know basketball. This is a physical sport. Man, ain't no physical sport. It's hate and jealousy, bruh. And they be beating that girl up, man. And the WNBA allow this shit, bruh. But like he said, the world's biggest star. But let me guess, he buck dancing, he glazing, he tap dancing, he a coon. Come on, bruh. The world is starting to wake up. The biggest star in probably sports right now, bruh. Y'all letting this girl get done like that. And that's probably why she hurt. And we all know it.
The NBA's been exposed, and you won't believe how quickly the media jumped to defend Caitlin Clark. While she's getting knocked around on the court and treated like she doesn't belong, the headlines are louder than ever, calling for justice. Words like dirty play and disrespect are everywhere. But this isn't just a little drama, it's a full-on spectacle. Elbows are flying, and the media's all over it. Stay tuned, because what's happening in the WNBA right now will make you wonder if you're watching a game or a reality show.
Freeze ain't gonna do it, somebody gotta do something, right? But let's head on over to X right now, pull up this footage, man. Shout out to the homeboy Mike.
Obviously being fouled. Right in the first quarter, Caitlin Clark obviously being fouled. The refs don't call it.
And it's crazy because let me go back there. Because the referee's literally right there. Like, bro, you're right there.
Somehow, the meaning of physical play got completely twisted. It's like people threw out the real definition and started following a WWE script instead. Shoulder checks now look like cheap shots, and hard screens feel more like borderline assaults. There's a big difference between tough basketball and flat-out dirty play, but that line keeps getting crossed, especially when Caitlin Clark is the one taking the hits.
Why is this happening? And I went back and I was thinking, the Caitlin Clark phenomenon is one that I got wrong. I never really thought that Caitlin Clark would make the difference that she has in college basketball or in the WNBA. There are, the WNBA opening game for Caitlin Clark set all-time records. There are millions of people that never cared about the WNBA at all, that now care because Caitlin Clark is in the WNBA.
Let's take a step back. Physical play. That's part of the game. It's what makes real competition stand out from casual runs. You expect contact, elbows flying, bodies bumping under the rim. This is basketball, not a dance class. No one's asking for a soft, no-contact version of the sport. The problem starts when that competitive edge crosses the line and turns into cheap shots that look more like football than basketball.
I can relate to that young lady. I know what it's like to be hated. I know what it's like to be a black woman and hated because of my skin color. Yeah. I can't imagine this young lady, I don't want to use hate, but despise. And people just having, she brought some on herself a little bit because she's cocky for a good reason.
Confident.
And I love that about it. But to watch the dynamics and the media, they had their narrative. And I was pleased and proud to see the narrative wasn't true.
Right.
And
the media? They act like nothing's happening. Suddenly, they can't see, can't hear, and don't remember how to watch a replay. When Caitlin Clark gets knocked to the floor, it's radio silence. No outrage, no debate, just empty air and blank faces on sports panels. Meanwhile, the clips go viral online. She's taking hits that look straight out of a fighting game, and the response? Nothing. Maybe a shrug, like she just tripped, not like she was thrown to the ground.
They need to start finding these women, bruh. Finding them, suspending them, and make an example out of somebody, bruh. We ain't gonna tolerate this shit, homie. We not gonna be tolerating this shit right here. What's that guy's name that's getting ready to come to the NBA? The white dude? I can't think of his name right now. The rookie that's going to Dallas. I guarantee you, man, they is not going to be letting that dude get treated like Caitlin Clark, bruh. And all the men in the WNBA ain't going to be jealous and shit neither, bruh. We know what we see, bruh. The problem is this, man. A lot of people don't like Caitlin Clark, bro. They just hate the girl so much, man, that they just can't even when the truth is staring them in their face, They chose to go the other way, bruh. That's what you call hate.
Now compare that to the NBA back in the day. Sure, Michael Jordan took some hard hits, sometimes it looked like a wrestling match, but at least there were consequences. He'd get fouled, and he'd be at the free throw line seconds later. That's how the game was called, tough, but fair. Fast forward to the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark gets slammed to the floor with barely a reaction from the refs, just a blank stare, like they're counting down to the weekend. And the funniest part? When fans point out how ridiculous it is, a wave of defenders shows up, acting like it's their job to protect missed calls. They start preaching about physicality like it's some sacred part of the game, like body slamming someone is a brave act of strategy. They call it the culture, as if it's rooted in real basketball skills. At this rate, they might as well hand out brass knuckles before tip-off and call it team defense.
But with all that being said, the WNBA referees has been having issues with getting these calls right when it comes to Caitlin Clark and the Fever, bruh. And I'm telling you, we have another case of that. And shout out to all the fans that, put these TikToks together, put these videos together, kind of, breaking down everything that has happened with the WNBA referees, because we have another game and we have another situation where WNBA referees fail to make the right calls against Caitlin Clark and the Fever. But then people want to get mad when Sophie Cunningham pretty much did what she did.
Let's just be honest. Some of these hits on Caitlin Clark would be criminal offenses if they happened off the court. If this were any other athlete, we'd be seeing roundtable discussions, emotional interviews, and probably an Oprah special about protecting women in sports. But Caitlin? She's too successful, too popular, and, frankly, too blonde, to fit neatly into the usual narrative. So instead of accountability, we get rough fouls disguised as gritty defense. If Physical Play had a PR team, they'd be suing for defamation. And the crazy part? Caitlin's not even asking for soft calls. She wants tough competition. She wants to earn her place. But it's hard to do that when you're dodging shoulders instead of playing basketball. There's a clear line between testing someone's skill and trying to knock them out, yet people keep acting like they don't see the difference. It's like they skipped learning how basketball works and went straight to How to Be Petty 101. And here's the real twist, the league profits from all of it. Every shove, every cheap shot becomes viral content, shared, debated, turned into hashtags with about as much depth as a puddle. Meanwhile, the league keeps cashing in on her bruises, only to tell her to shake it off and keep playing.
And all the videos that everyone on social media has me watching, a lot of clips from the WNBA right now too. And it's absolutely crazy to me to see the types of fouls and the lack of calls that are having on them from these refs that the players are doing. They're just straight hacking each other. And we wouldn't even allow that at our kids' games that we go to watch, let alone in the NBA. And it's just wild to me that you have somebody that took stadiums which only had 7,000 people in them to attend live games to completely packed and tripling the ticket prices.
The same media that once claimed Caitlin Clark was overhyped is now quietly posting close-ups of her black eye just to rack up clicks. It's the modern sports cycle: tear her down, then profit from the comeback, and the refs. With cameras covering every angle of the court, you'd think the officiating would be sharp. But somehow, they miss Clark flying across the baseline like she's been launched out of a cannon. No whistle, no foul, no reaction, just a slow jog back while she picks herself up off the floor like something out of a cartoon. And when she looks confused or upset, cue the hot takes. She needs to toughen up, they say. She's not used to the league. But what exactly is she supposed to adjust to? Physics being ignored? Refs treating the rulebook like bedtime reading? Being the only player expected to survive hits that wouldn't fly in a contact sport, all while the league tries to market itself as family-friendly, and let's not ignore the obvious, the jealousy. It's thick. Some players don't see Clark as a teammate in the league. They see her as a symbol of everything they feel they were denied: the fame, the endorsements, the attention. Instead of raising their game, they target her, with hard fouls and cold shoulders. That's not competitive spirit. It's bitterness dressed up in game gear, yet through it all, Clark keeps showing up. She keeps scoring. She keeps packing arenas with crowds bigger than some local parades. She doesn't just play well, she proves her worth with every shove she takes. Every time she gets knocked down, the moment goes viral. Every missed call becomes a headline. And every cheap shot only adds to her legend. Here's the truth no one wants to say out loud: the more they try to break her, the more unstoppable she becomes. The WNBA wanted attention, and they got it. But now they're stuck in a trap of their own making. Caitlin Clark is the league's biggest draw, and instead of supporting her, they're letting her get battered while pretending nothing's wrong. So go ahead, keep saying it's just physical play. Keep watching the hits, the silence, and the spin. Just don't act shocked when fans start wondering if they're watching basketball or a rerun of American Gladiators. And when the next hard play goes viral, maybe, just maybe, people will stop asking if Caitlin needs to toughen up and start asking why no one's doing anything to stop it.
Caitlin Clark effect continues to go wild. We are witnessing a cultural force that has not been seen since Tiger Woods. Let's talk about the effect her teammate has gotten over the last couple weeks. Sophie Cunningham defended her Fever teammate last week in a scuffle against the Mercury, in response to what many people will consider a bit more hazing than usual for Caitlin Clark over the last year and a half. Next, let's look at the top followed WNBA athletes in the league right now. Just in the last week since she defended her teammate, she has now gained over 1 million followers collectively. By the end of this week, she'll probably be top 4. Now, we don't have official figures for TikTok, but she is at 1.3 million followers on TikTok now.
And speaking of hard truths hidden behind striped shirts and missed calls, let's talk about the refs, the real MVPs of this mess. And by MVPs, we mean masters of vanishing penalties. Because whenever Caitlin Clark has the ball, it's like the rulebook disappears, whistles. Nowhere to be found. She can get hammered in plain view, cameras catching every angle, and the officials just wave it off like it's no big deal. Play on, they say, as if getting tackled mid-drive is just part of the experience. At this point, Caitlin's taken more contact in her last 10 possessions than some hockey players see in a week. And somehow, the refs treat it like it's modern art, arms flying, bodies hitting the floor, and complete silence from the people holding the whistles. Honestly, it's impressive. You'd think the officials were wearing noise-canceling headphones and practicing meditation while the game unfolds in chaos around them.
You think that was dirty by Caitlin Clark? Let's start there. You think that was dirty by Caitlin Clark?
It don't matter. It was basketball. It don't matter if it was dirty or not. It was bad. I mean, we seen intentional dirty plays in both leagues. It don't even matter if it was dirty or not. It was a foul. She stopped a layup.
It was a foul. It was a good hard foul, and Caitlin wasn't even wrong for going to defend her teammate because it was some good hard fouling going on. That's it.
Let's stop acting like this is hard to see. You'd have to be in total denial, or just plain bitter, not to notice what's happening. Caitlin Clark isn't just being defended. She's being targeted, slammed, and knocked around like it's open season. And still, people claim she's flopping or being dramatic. Come on. This isn't theater, it's survival, and somehow, despite it all, she gets up, nails a 3, and jogs back like her body isn't taking a beating every single quarter. What's even more mind-blowing is the number of people twisting themselves into excuses. She needs to toughen up. She knew what she was signing up for. It's good for the game. Really? Since when did getting hit turn into some kind of life lesson? If that's character development, maybe we should ditch the court, lay down gravel, and settle games with steel chairs. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, along comes Coach Christy Sideswhite. Somehow, she's pulled off the unthinkable, doing more damage to Caitlin's game than the hard fouls or online hate ever could. While Clark is fighting through cheap shots and missed calls, her own team is busy running plays that make no sense and hanging her out to dry. So hats off, coach. You've achieved what envy, TikToks, and flagrant fouls couldn't, turning Caitlin's team into her biggest obstacle. If the refs don't break her rhythm, the system around her will, and that's the real tragedy.
Gotta put it in perspective. right? These girls have been grinding to grow the game of basketball in the WNBA. They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewerships. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's going to be girls that are offended by that. And there's going to be girls that think she's got to earn it and she doesn't deserve this early. She's handled it great. I think she's performed last year. She's performing again this year. I think she's the rightful face.
Let's be real. If Caitlin's getting crushed on every play and you're not calling a timeout, switching things up, or even reacting, then you're not coaching. You're just standing there while the chaos unfolds. Every time she hits the floor and there's no response from the bench, you can feel the loyalty fading from the team. This isn't tough love, it's passive-aggressive silence in sneakers and Gatorade. That it's not just bad coaching, it feels personal. Other teams have tried to wear her down with elbows, cheap screens, and online drama. But it's her own coaching staff that's found the most damaging strategy of all: do nothing. Let her face triple teams like she's the final level of a video game, while teammates hang out at the three-point line like they're waiting for lunch, and when the fouls stack up like unpaid tickets. Still no reaction. No yelling at the refs, no fired-up protest from the bench, just blank stares and slow claps. The message? That's the game, kid. And you can't help but wonder, maybe they think if she takes enough hits, she'll stop shining so bright. Maybe the silence isn't just indifference, maybe it's by design.
Dominated by black women in a black league that they want to mirror the NBA. But unfortunately, them white girls, they got an extra, they got an extra three-point finger or something. Because this girl has done 565 games. She only played 45 games and she's one away from tying the WNBA record. WNBA record. This is her second season.
But here's the real kicker. This whole display of coaching indifference is dressed up as player development and team balance. We keep hearing the same lines: we're building the whole team, she just needs to adjust to the league. Sure. And next, you'll say fouls aren't real and the earth is flat. Everyone saw what's actually happening. Caitlin Clark was supposed to be the future, the star, the face of the league, the reason tickets were selling out. Instead, she's being treated like a crash test dummy in a league-wide experiment. How much can one player take before she breaks? And let's not act like the timing is random. Just when she starts getting into rhythm, just when she's learning to handle the physical play, things go completely off the rails. Screens turn into body checks, rebounds turn into wrestling matches, and somehow, the story is still spun to make it look like she's the issue. The level of disrespect is off the charts. While players with half her resume and a fraction of her impact are handled like fragile glass, no contact, no criticism, Caitlin is treated like open season. She's the target, the scapegoat, the built-in excuse for every ugly moment on the court, and now, thanks to a coaching staff that refuses to stand up or speak out, she's become the sacrificial piece in a season that should have been her breakthrough. This wasn't supposed to be a lesson in pain tolerance, it was supposed to be her rise.
The way that you thank the player that is doing that is to like jab her in the eye and shove her when she's making shots and all kinds of stuff just because the refs are not good enough to call it. And it's just crazy to me. Like, instead of that, why not take it upon yourself to get better so that you can compete with her? And if you think they're competitive with her, a lot of them are not, because she's in the league already setting scoring records and assist records the very first year she's there. So obviously she's a better player than a lot of people in the league. And to take a player that is rocket shipping your sport makes absolutely no sense. And the fact that the WNBA is now only starting to step in a little.
And after all this, still no accountability. No statement from the league, no explanation from the refs, no transparency, just confusion, broken plays, and Coach Christy Sideswhite holding a clipboard like it's just for show, while her star player takes hit after hit. That it's become a masterclass in how to waste greatness while pretending you're developing something. But don't worry, Coach, your legacy is locked in. When the story gets written about how a generational talent was mismanaged, your chapter will stand out, bolded, maybe even italicized, because while critics, rivals, and bitter ex-players tried to knock Caitlin down, you did what none of them could, you took her out from the inside. With a system that leaves her exposed, a team that rarely steps up, and leadership that pretends it's all fine while fans are melting down online, the refs kept quiet. The league looked away. And Coach White? She took the title for most subtle sabotage and made it her brand, and the sad part. They'll all say they were just doing their jobs, while Caitlin Clark walks off the court with another bruise, another welt, and another reminder that no matter how bright you shine, even the best need someone in their corner.